Good Tuesday morning, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get right to your headlines. In just a few hours, a man accused of a deadly hit and run in Brooklyn Park 1 week ago today will make his first appearance in court. This morning, we're hearing from the victim's family for the first time. Megan McPherson joins us now with more.
Amia Armstrong Walker, just 25 years old, was killed in this crash. Ryan Freeman was arrested and charged with criminal vehicular homicide after investigators say that he hit and killed her on Highway 252, then drove away from the scene. This is video from that crash scene 1 week ago today. State troopers responded around 1:30 a.m., finding debris from a dark gray vehicle scattered across the roadway. Court documents say Amia Armstrong Walker got out of a car during an argument. The other people in the car tried to convince her to get back inside, but she was standing near the fog line when investigators say Ryan Freeman hit her and kept driving. Amia's longtime partner Desiree says the couple had just welcomed a baby boy 8 months ago.
And they loved each other so much. So much. And I hate that he has to grow up without her. He looks at pictures of her every day. And I hate that somebody took my son's other parent.
Just a devastating reality for this family. Freeman has admitted to driving the car at the time, but said he didn't crash into anything. He's set to appear in court at 1 this afternoon. Back to you.
We have to get to some breaking news in southeast Minneapolis. Right now, we're trying to learn more about an overnight police investigation near East 41st Street and Snelling Avenue. This was the scene just before midnight. You can see a few police cars and officers in the area. Our photographer on scene did see an ambulance leaving that site. We have reached out to Minneapolis police. We'll update you as soon as we know more. The city of Minneapolis has seen multiple deadly shootings in the past several days, something community outreach programs say they're looking to prevent as we head into summer. Right now, they're focused on intervening with young adults before crime ever becomes a problem.
That trauma season is one of the pivotal, most important times where systems and, community and systems and local partners need to really come together, come up with a strategic plan to help address some of these things, before they actually end up happening.
You can learn more at touchoutreach.org. Also this morning, St. Paul police tell us they're searching for a homicide suspect. This is video from the scene just after 9:30 last night. Police say someone reported a body on the train tracks off Case Avenue near Birmingham Street. Police tell us the man has possible stab wounds. Right now, it's not clear what happened, but an autopsy is being performed. Happening right now, Chisago County union workers are back on the picket line after contract negotiations broke down over the weekend.
Now, the first picketers have begun to march here outside of the Chisago County Government Center. This is Teamsters Local 320. This picket comes after an 18-and-a-half-hour negotiating session with the county broke down over the weekend. Now, this union represents 170 county health and human services employees, government center workers, and their biggest sticking point in the negotiations is rising health care costs, with workers wanting to leave the county health plan and join their own union plan. Now, I've reached out to county leaders for an update on their side. When we last spoke to them, officials told us they were shifting resources around in Chisago County to make sure as many services as possible could continue, with public safety being the biggest priority. Back to you.
Well, this morning, a Minneapolis beach is back open after a search for a child who reportedly went under the water didn't turn anything up. According to Minneapolis Parks, crews responded to the main beach at Lake Nokomis around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. A lifeguard reported seeing a child go underwater. Officials launched an extensive search by boat, and volunteers formed a chain to search the water, but they came up empty. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office tells us no children were reported missing. Officials suspended the search and reopened the beach around 2 hours later. The ceasefire between the United States and Iran is on shaky ground again this morning after the U.S. said it carried out defensive strikes overnight. This comes only a day after President Trump signaled positive progress in the deal with Iran. NBC's Raf Sanchez reports from Qatar.
Tensions escalating here in the Middle East once again after the U.S. says it carried out defensive strikes against Iran overnight. U.S. Central Command says that it targeted small Iranian boats attempting to lay mines in the Strait of Hormuz and that it struck Iranian missile sites on land. Central Command is saying that these posed a threat to U.S. vessels in the region, enforcing that blockade against Iranian ports. Now, the Iranians are saying that they shot down an American drone, that they targeted an F-35, and the Revolutionary Guard is saying that they are prepared to carry out further strikes. We are also hearing today from Iran's supreme leader, who, of course, has not been seen or heard from in public since he was wounded at the start of the war back in late February. He is repeating threats to carry out strikes against American bases here in the Gulf. Now, whether or not this will threaten those fragile ceasefire negotiations remains to be seen. We have seen fighting over the course of the last couple of weeks, and yet the ceasefire has held, and indications from both sides are that despite this violence overnight, they are still attempting to clear out those final remaining issues and get this agreement over the line. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Doha, Qatar.
Well, hundreds of people gathered for Memorial Day at Fort Snelling National Cemetery to honor the men and women who bravely gave their lives in service to our countries. Monday's observance featured military honors, music from the 34th Infantry Division Red Bull Band, and remarks from veterans and military leaders, all set among thousands of graves marked with American flags. Organizers say this year's event also recognized the nation's 250th anniversary, reflecting on generations of sacrifice. Both Senators Smith and Klobuchar attended.
We may be divided sometimes politically, that's an understatement, but we know that what unites us, our respect for our country, what ties us together, even if we have differences on war, we always stand up for the warrior and respect the warrior. That is what Memorial Day is about.
Families, veterans, and community members paused for moments of silence, a rifle salute, and the playing of taps honoring those who never made it home. And in White Bear Lake yesterday, the American Legion and VFW honored one of their own, Master Sergeant Nicole Amer. She, along with 5 other soldiers, died in Kuwait during the start of Operation Epic Fury, the military action against Iran. Yesterday, Amer's loved ones attended a ceremony where she was honored at Veterans Memorial Park. The mother of 2 will also be honored with the creation of a memorial highway in White Bear Lake. Governor Tim Walz just signed off on the legislative action on May 15th. And this morning, we're hearing from Nicole's husband, Joey, as he honors her memory ahead of several big family milestones. Today is her daughter's birthday, and in less than 2 weeks, their son will graduate high school. Joey says that his wife had the ability to be someone's best friend and mother at the same time, and she loved fiercely, more than anything, their 2 kids. Joey and Nicole met while they both served in the Army and just celebrated their 10th anniversary this past December.
She knew the difference between wearing the uniform and standing for the person next to her. She lived and breathed the military. She lived and breathed for the soldiers around her, and that's what she fought for.
Nicole also loved to garden, and in fact, there's now a nonprofit in her honor, Operation Nikki's Embrace, which is working towards building a greenhouse in her memory in White Bear Lake. Monday marked 6 years since George Floyd was killed on the corner of 38th and Chicago at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. Last night, hundreds of community members, along with George Floyd's family, hosting a march and a vigil to remember him and renew calls for change. That vigil caps off a day of activities and music celebrating the community in South Minneapolis and reflecting on how his death put an international spotlight on police accountability and racism. Floyd's family members say they feel that support.
You all created this blueprint, and we're honored. As a family, I am so humble because there is no way that we could do this. I don't think anyone can do this without us holding each other up and being in solidarity.
Well, this morning in California, thousands of people returning to their homes after authorities lifted the evacuation order that was put in place over the threat of a chemical tank explosion in the area. But not everyone was allowed back, with a smaller evacuation order still affecting many. Tracy Long reports.
After days of uncertainty, thousands of people are finally returning home as evacuation orders from the Garden Grove chemical threat are scaled back.
I feel great. Maybe for 3 days, I missed my home.
Ton Vo and his wife have been staying at John F. Kennedy High School in La Palma, one of 7 Red Cross shelters set up across the area to help those who were displaced.
Everybody wants to go home, but at least I would like to say thank you for all people, for all the people here, all volunteers, they are very nice.
Officials announced the reduction of the evacuation zone on Monday evening, allowing people in shelters or staying with loved ones to finally return home.
She's tucked in and watching her TV shows and stuff. But yeah, it was good to get her home. It's always comfortable at home.
Steve Ortiz's mother-in-law had been staying at his home for 3 days.
She had been staying with us because we were out of the evacuation zone, so I took her home.
However, many are still in the affected area.
For the trauma, because of not knowing the uncertainty of when we can go home, what's going to happen. I mean, what if we do go back home and the chemicals are still in the air, and what about our pets? I mean, that's my biggest concern, is my pet.
Erica Ritz says they're looking forward to returning home. And even though there's no timeline, they're staying hopeful and positive.
It's not going to last forever. It's just another speed bump. I mean, we as a community always have a way of coming right back. And right now we're just trying to survive, but we'll get back to thriving really quick.
Make sure you stick with us. More news and weather coming up right after the break.